Hey, Andrew. I've got some technical difficulties here.
Figured something out there, or can we help anyway?
Can you get?
You cut out there. We started to hear you, and then you cut out, Chair.
For some reason, I can't get admitted.
Okay.
Through my desktop. So what you see on the screen is actually my image through my phone. And now I can't turn off. Let's see. Is that any better?
Lots better. Yes. I'm going to step away from the computer and visit with Pat a little bit and Shauna, because I think Commissioner Stuker may be experiencing the same.
That's what I was just going to say.
Well, let me give him a phone call.
Let's see, why don't we try resending them? Did you resend them the links?
I'm admitted through my phone, and I can't get the video or audio to work on my computer, even though I can see you all on my computer. So it's gonna be weird.
So is everything working okay for you, Andrew?
Yeah, I am one of the few non-problem children.
Okay, sounds good. Mike, can you broadcast okay?
How's that? Coming through?
Sounds good.
Yes.
How's the Seattle going, Andrew?
Yeah, well, it's wet, drippy, and dark. So normally, no, it's good. I lived in Seattle for like 3 years between Wolf Point and Helena, and I hated it. Like, just kind of snooty people. It was the first big city I ever lived in. So I've been like constitutionally resistant to my girl going to school in Washington, but we went to Bellingham, and she loved it. She really liked it. So my gruff exterior started kind of melting a little bit, but we'll see. I'm still kind of holding out hope that it's the first school she's looked at. Maybe she won't go here. We'll see. But it's beautiful. Geez, we went out to Deception Pass yesterday. She is interested in fisheries, just biology in general.
Okay.
And tide pool stuff she loves. So it was fun to be out there in the salt.
Oh, that's great.
Looks like we're only missing a commissioner there, and there's Commissioner Aldrich.
Good morning.
It looks
Rich.
And there you are, Chair Colton.
okay. I can click out of this. Now I'm admitted in through my computer. And as you can see, I've got a camera angle that shows my dog trying to get her bed together. I think she's on track. We can't really start the meeting till she settles in.
How has she done
Waiting
on,
for Tim's video to come up and then we can get started.
how's she done on birds this year?
There we go.
Oh, Commissioner Eldridge.
Good morning, everyone.
Morning, Tim.
Morning, everybody.
It looks
know
like
about
we have everybody that we need.
Morning, Tim.
Uh,
Andrew?
Commissioner Byork, of course, is out of the country, so he won't be joining us, but we do have a quorum. I'm going to go ahead and call the meeting to order, and we'll jump right into the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, we only have one agenda item. I'm not going to call for any commission reports. We're here to approve the minutes of some meetings reaching back into 2019. And I'll begin our meeting today with a presentation from Chief of Staff Quentin Kujala.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and other members of the commission. Again, for the record, this is a good meeting to be deliberate to that point. Again, Quentin Kujala, Fish Wildlife Parks Chief of Staff. I much appreciate the opportunity today. And in that vein, I wanted to start with some additional thank yous to all of you for your patience, for your tolerance, for your inputs, as we have made two things to talk about: a transition in how minutes are captured from 2019 to 2020. That was the transition point. And then also just exactly what the final product of that transition looks like. And we don't think, and we understand from some inputs we've heard from some of you, that what we have here today, while it's capable, we believe, with respect to statutory requirements, and we'll ask Becky, Chief Legal Counsel Becky Doctor, to speak more to that in a moment. We recognize, even as we've gone through this effort, that in the context of user friendliness, there are some things that could be added. So hopefully part of this discussion is hearing more of your insight to that end, in addition to the other formal requirements of the conversation here today. I do want to speak a little bit to the context here. Again, how we, so the topic is approval, as Chair Colton pointed out, approval of past minutes, some in 2019, some in 2020. So again, thank you for your patience. Thank you for your tolerance. I also have the need and the desire here to point to Shauna and thank very overtly her for her efforts in this last couple of weeks to assemble all the things that are before us here today. Well, while 2019, you will see to be a more traditional minutes, we have had a back and forth and an uncertainty, for want of a better way to put it, as to which were adopted or not. And that uncertainty falls to those commission meetings after June up to December 2019. And so to be sure and to reconcile that back and forth, we have offered those for approval here, whether that be approval for the first time or a reapproval. We think that a way to confirm beyond any shadow of a doubt what those minutes are. And you will see in that format that they are what I will call here today, and maybe the vocabulary needs to be changed to host this conversation, minutes of the more traditional nature. You'll see the 2020 minutes, and we are looking at all of them here, capturing all of the Commission's 2020 minutes. They are a different format. They lean heavily on the audio recording. In this instance, you also remember we had a connection to the transcript, thinking for a while that was a piece of the answer. So they're part of this process, but we don't see that being a strong piece moving forward. Again, looking to hear more from the Commission on how to continue to make these better and better, not just again from the context of what they are required to be, the functionality, but also the user friendliness. But we have settled on really two components, the recording itself. I'll let Becky again speak to how that's a fitting record and officially recognized record, but then also a directory of sorts to help people understand, to be used with the recording and any other supplementals that we might put on the site, put on the website, but to be used and that to include some specific requirements, that are listed in statute. And again, we'll look to Becky to help us walk through those. And hopefully you see those requirements in the documents that we've put in front of you for today's discussion. How we got here, here we are in December 2020, and we're looking at the year's minutes. I want to take some ownership in that. I want to take ownership of all of that, if you'll let me. There was a retirement transition. The task came to me, or is included in my tasks that sit on my desk as I came into the position in June. And to be blunt and candid both, it took me a while to catch up with just the task that needed to be done, not just the minutes themselves that were waiting to be approved, waiting to be assembled. But we had to work still on the definition of just exactly what those minutes look like. And so it's on me. It took me, like I say, some time to recognize all of those things needing to be done. I think we've got a product now that functionally works. That's not to say it isn't better. And again, with some inputs of yours and our own thoughts, we look for the next iteration of minutes for the next commission to be that much better in the context of user friendliness. So hopefully that describes a little bit of what we're here to do today, how we've gotten here today, the transition that you see between 2019 and 2020 as we look to take advantage of the technology more than we were. Thank you again for living and growing with us here. Again, we started with transcripts and from your inputs, and then also our own inspection. It was clear that those were not up to expectation and standards. So we moved away from that. And I have to thank you again for extending the week of the meeting and putting another meeting on your calendar during this busy season. So I can't thank you all enough. I want to thank Shauna again. And with that, I'll certainly stand ready for questions. Again, two kinds of minutes, the 2019s and the 2020s. Before I hand it back to the commission chair, with your tolerance, I'd ask Chief Legal Counsel Becky Doctor to help us understand how the format we're using today, and we might call that an interim format, it to continue to evolve, fits and is suitable in light of statutory language.
Thank you, Quentin. Hi, Becky.
Hi, Chair Colton, members of the commission. Thank you, Quentin. Becky Doctor, Chief Legal Counsel. And I have, just for context, Quentin did contact me prior to our discussion, prior to our first meeting scheduled on December 22nd to decide how we would do these meetings. And I was a part of putting together the format that you see now before you to be approved, which includes a written record, or I'm sorry, an official recording and the written record, both of which are required by statute. If we are going to recognize an official recording, it is required that the written record that you see is also included. So both of them are considered a portion of the official minutes. And so the list of requirements in statute for writing is all satisfied by the agenda that you saw. That also includes the timestamp, the date, time, and place, timestamp for each agenda item, the date, time, and place of the meeting, a list of the members the commissioners who were at the meeting, the substance of the matters proposed and decided, which can be found in the motion, the second, and then the decision, and what that vote was. And then it does require that at the request of any member, so any of the commissioners here could request a recording of the votes by individual members, but many times it was a 5-0 vote. And so that is something the commissioners can request and include in here as well. And as Quentin mentioned, this was devised not that long ago, and so open to suggestions as we move forward, but this is satisfied. The way you see it today is satisfied, is a way to satisfy the statute and can move forward today, understanding that we can always do some improvements. So without any questions, that's all I have.
Thank you, Becky. Questions from the commission to either Quentin or Becky? Thank you for those presentations. And, frankly, if there's any frustration out there in terms of the delay associated with approving these approving these minutes, it needs to fall on me. You know, I was the chairman when we adopted this new format in January. Vice Chairman Stuker had been, had raised concerns with me about us getting behind on the minutes, and I simply didn't follow up or get my arms around this new protocol. And so, as chair, I take full responsibility for that. And I thank staff, and in particular Shauna, so much for their efforts here to put these together in this format. I think we're going to have a discussion here later, maybe about some suggestions we as commissioners have about this as you move forward into 2021 and with a new commission. So again, if there's any questions of Quentin or Becky, please ask those now. If there's not, I would entertain a motion. I think it makes sense to break these down in years, in particular because of the different formats. So I would ask for a motion to approve the minutes of 2019 that have not yet been approved as best we understand.
Mr. Chairman, I would move to approve August, October, November, and December of 2019.
I have a motion. Do I have a second?
I'll second that motion.
A motion and a second. We've been provided these, and I know everybody's reviewed them. Are there any proposed changes to these minutes?
Mr. Chairman, I did already send all mine in, and I think Shauna incorporated those. I would like to speak, though, to Quentin's comment earlier about whether they were approved or not. I think it's very important to approve them now because I can find nothing in the minutes that we approved them in any of the written form. I did not go back and listen to any audio, but in the written ones we've received, there is no data that points that we approved anything since June. So that's why I have included August and October in my motion.
Thank you, Vice Chair Stuker, and thank you for your diligence on this.
Mr. Chair,
I am going to propose a motion later that all minutes are blocked from your view going in perpetuity, but that's something separate.
Mr. Chairman, may I?
Yeah.
I just wanted to say, again, thank you, Commissioner Stuker. And in my comments, I did not mean to challenge that. Point well made. And we recognized and don't have an answer for how we on our side came to conclude that they were approved. So thank you for catching that. And again, my comments did not mean to challenge your observation. We recognize, we don't have confirmation. So let's do them now. Thank you.
And I was not challenging you, Quentin. I was just saying that we needed to make sure they were approved so there's no question down the road.
Yes, no, I appreciate it. It's a belt and suspenders approach here. Okay, all in favor of the motion on the 2019 minutes as referenced by Vice Chairman Stuker, signify by saying aye. Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, motion carries on the 2019 minutes. Now we have, of course, the 2020 minutes, which were under the new format that was discussed in January 2020 and has now been, more formalized and adopted. Do I have a motion on the minutes for all meetings in 2020?
Mr. Chairman, I will make the motion for January, February, April, May, June, August, October, and December to approve.
I'll second that motion.
And I'm assuming that captures any of those, that captures all the meetings in 2020, correct? Even in some of our brief meetings.
I think it does.
Yeah, okay. Quentin?
Mr. Chairman, thank you for, if I may.
Yes.
To that point, and again, this is a good meeting. Sean and I have talked about taking opportunity with your permission. If I may restate the months that I heard January, February. I did not hear November.
I'll go through them again.
Okay,
January, February, April, May, June, August, October, November, and December.
okay, and I apologize if I missed that. I just want to make sure.
And I might have skipped over it the first time, and if I did, I apologize, but I haven't wrote down here, so.
Thank you. Sorry to interrupt, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, no problem. So the motion on the floor is to approve the minutes for all of the meetings held in 2020. Are there, and we have a second on that, are there any additions or suggested changes to the minutes?
Mr. Chairman, I reluctantly made the motion because I think it needs to be done, and based on what Becky has said, Chief Legal Counsel, that it does meet the statutory requirements. But I'm not happy with them at all. And I think you said we were going to have a discussion after this motion to talk about future minutes or suggestions. And so like I say, with Ms. Stocker's legal expertise on this, I am in favor of moving these forward.
Thank you. And I've reviewed, MCA 2-3-212 and matched that up against what has been prepared for us for 2020. And I certainly believe it does meet our statutory obligations, if not exceeds. But I do think it would be helpful for us to have a discussion after the vote, because we have quite a bit of experience here with this commission as to how maybe it could be more user-friendly and efficient as we move forward. But for now, I will call for the vote. All in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. And just following up on my last statement, Vice Chairman Stuker, you sent me an email about some ideas you had, which I think makes good sense, and I think it'd be good to share that with legal here, with Becky here, and Mike's here, and Quentin's here. Just some of our observations of how to use this technology as we move forward.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The traditional way we've done it, where we've always showed all the discussion, is great, but I don't think that's necessary as long as we have it backed up on audio. Well, what I would like to see in minutes is what you've presented now, but they're not very user-friendly. What I would like to see is the motions or the body of what FWP is presenting that we're voting on, and any amendments to that put in what you're doing now. Because right now you can say, okay, we voted on X, but nobody really knows what X is in the minutes unless they go to the audio. And so if those are included, and that to me is a simple cut and paste on almost all of that, to just put it in the minutes, what is being presented and what we're voting on, and any amendments that might be done to that, which there are a lot of times there are no amendments. So then you just have to put in the motions and the vote, and that takes care of it. And if anybody's looking at it, they can say, okay, this is what the commission is voting on, or what the department has recommended. You don't need all the discussion from the department either, I don't feel. It's just the language of what we're voting on. And then if they want to see the discussion, they can go back to the audio and find all that discussion. But to me, that makes a set of minutes that's user-friendly and is something that people can look at quick. And it's not the 70 or 80 pages that we had traditionally before January. And yes, the December and the February meeting, there's going to be a lot of cut and pasting when we're doing, especially when you're doing the season settings. But to me, that's what I would like to see moving forward into the future. The new commission that comes in, they might, with Andrew, they might have a different requirement. And I hope that that's what you do moving forward. So thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Vice Chairman Stuker. I think that's a point that is well made, and I think it'll be acted upon because we certainly want to use the technology that we have that allows us to record these, and that complies with the statute. It's been clear that the public is accessing these recordings to look and see what was said. I mean, we've all had experiences in which members of the public have pointed out, what was in past recordings. But anything we can do to make that indexing and location of those action items that are of most interest to people easier to access and understand is important. Further discussion from the commission.
Maybe I just ask a question of Rich. Rich would I think a lot of the information is on a cover sheet. Might be part of what you were talking about, the description of the matter that's being undertaken.
Yes, I think that needs to be there, the description, what they presented to us now, but also just include or add whichever the presentation or the body of what the department is presenting to us. The example might be quotas. Okay, we're going to vote on quotas. So whatever was recommended by the department as the quotas be included in the written minutes. And they just move that over. So if you or I are looking at the minutes and want to see what we voted on without going back to the audio, or the members of the public, they can go to the minutes and say, okay, here's what we voted on, here's the quotas, and I'll use the 920. This year I think it was proposed at 3,700 from the department. We made an amendment to change that to 4,000, I believe. So that amendment would be then included in the minutes. That to me is very easy then for the public to follow what we actually voted on.
Thanks, Rich. That makes sense. A lot of sense to me too.
Well, and Rich, that's a great example of being able to capture something substantive right in that document for people to access. So it's those types of things that, the commission takes a recommendation and amends that and then passes its own amendment or alters the department's recommendation. I think those are the items that the public's most interested in seeing, and they'll clearly state that, and then they go back and look at the recording if they want more. So any further discussion, comments on this topic? Andrew?
Yeah, Commissioner Colton, Rich, nice job on this. And I was a little uncertain what you meant by cut and paste of sort of original material into the minutes. Now, with that example, I understand what you're saying. I think that's important. My initial discomfort with this was, yes, we met the legal and statutory requirements, but we didn't do a very good job of making these accessible to the public. And I think this discussion is about that. Just to have sort of the cold carcass of minutes with motions and approvals, I think is not enough, but also the entire transcripts is too much. So I think this achieves a happy balance. And Commissioner Chairman Colton, to your comment about using technology, I'm happy to see cleaner versions, those original audio transcripts. As an editor, I was just squirrely about some of the autocorrects and the interpretation of those. So I think what we've arrived at is a really useful medium, really, to achieve the legal statute as well as the public expectation.
Yeah, and you look back at 2019, and we've got 61 pages of minutes typed up. That's somewhat archaic too, and so I think we can be more precise about what exactly took place in a few-page document, and that's what we were really striving for when we made the transition in January of 2020. And it's just taken a little time to work this out, but this exercise, which again, Shauna, we all owe you enormous debt public does for all your efforts, you know, getting emails. It's Saturday, the day after Christmas, Sunday, the day after Christmas, knowing you're in the office and working. And so thank you so much. I just think we'll have a good system going forward. And Andrew, as a holdover, and I'll talk to Pat about this too. I think having this discussion early with your new commissioners and with Quentin as chief of staff makes sense, and so that you can just stay on course and approve minutes, you know, the following meeting, as opposed to getting kind of behind as we get here. We were the first guinea pig sort of commission. So, all right. With that, this is a public meeting and a formal meeting that was noticed to the public. So, any topics that were not on the agenda that the public would like to comment on, now is the time that we would do that. And so, if you have items, the people listening in, that they want to address the commission about, *9, and you'll be acknowledged. And of course, you need to state your name, where you're from, and if you are with any affiliates, and then give us your topic that you want to talk about. So I'm going to open it up to the public for items not on the agenda, which is pretty much everything. The only thing on the agenda was the minutes.
Chairman Coltman and members of the commission, I am not seeing anybody available for comment.
Okay. Any final words from Quentin?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I would just take a quick moment to make it very clear that we hear and understand the looked for functionality and the ingredients that need to be added to arrive at the functionality that all of you have talked about here today, you know, specific to Commissioner Stuker's specific. So that will be our intent, that will be our product moving forward. And I just wanted to be very clear in that statement and that commitment. And I also want to thank you again. The commission illustrated an enormous amount of tolerance, patience, and assistance on this on all other topics as well, but most certainly on this one. So really do appreciate your all of that. Can't say it enough. Thank you.
Thank you, Quentin. And thank you, Becky, for your time here today as well.
You're welcome. Thank you all. It's been a pleasure working with you all.
Mr. Chairman, I'd just like to thank Shauna and Quentin and Becky for the work they've done to get this where it does meet the requirements. And also I'd like to wish everybody a happy new year and hope it's better than 2020.
Yes, yes.
Here, here.
Here on that. Well, thank you. Do I have a motion to adjourn?
So move.
I'll second that. Moved and seconded. In favor of motion to adjourn, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion adjourned. Happy New Year, everyone.
Happy New Year, everyone. Thank you.
Take care.
Safe.